The next word is altitude. The altitude of a triangle goes from the vertex to the opposite side of the triangle, and it always intersects the opposite side at a perpendicular angle. And then down here it shows that the altitude can either be inside, outside, or on the side of a triangle. So there's sort of three different cases, and those three cases relate to whether your triangle is acute, right, or obtuse. If you have an acute triangle and we drop a perpendicular down to the opposite side, you can see that the altitude will in fact be inside the triangle. For our right triangle, if I focus on this point here at the top down to my right angle and I drop the altitude down, you'll see that I'm really just retracing the side of the triangle. And so this is where the altitude is the side of the triangle. Of course, if I focused on a separate vertex and the opposite side, it would now be a situation where it's inside the triangle. And then lastly here, for an obtuse triangle, if I start at this top vertex and I drop an altitude down, that altitude, here drawn in blue, is outside of my obtuse triangle. Now we're using some of those vocabulary words. We need to know the difference between a median and an altitude. So for letter A, looking at triangle PQS, it says, is PR a median, an altitude, or neither? And I hope you recognize that PR goes to the opposite side of the triangle if you extended it out, and it is perpendicular. So therefore our correct answer is that it is an altitude. Now for letter B, we have PQS, and we're focusing on QT. QT, it goes from one vertex to the opposite side, and it is a bisector because it divides that segment into congruent segments. And so therefore our answer is that it is a median.